Do you want the secret to the fluffiest buttery biscuit? Stick around and I'll show you how. And the most savory gravy to come with it. To make the flaky buttermilk biscuits, you're gonna start with 2 cups of flour. To that, because you need a self-rising flour, we're going to add, unless you have self-rising flour, use that. If you don't, you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of baking powder and 2 teaspoons of salt. You just add it in. And then you know what we do? We mix it up. The next step is very crucial for how your biscuits turn out. You have to have 2 sticks of unsalted, very cold butter cut into cubes. So what I did is I pre-cut the cubes and I stuck them back in my freezer because I wanted to make sure that they were super cold. So we're gonna grab those real quick. Oh, I forgot to show you. See the cubes? They don't have to be really big or anything, but you want them nice and small. Let's cube it up, get it in there. And then you're going to use a dough cutter. Forgot to grab that. To help break everything up and get your dough incorporated. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, really, you have to make biscuits? Couldn't you just buy them? You can certainly buy the biscuits. That's fine. However, these are totally worth it. So remember, get yourself a bowl and let's get to mixing. Gonna use our fingers. You want to make it look like the texture of that like sandy gravel mix. And you're asking yourself, why cold butter? Well, when it warms up in the oven, it's going to create these little pockets of pillowy goodness in there. That's what makes it flaky. All right, so we're almost there. I can feel it. Doing this stage, before we add the buttermilk, you can handle it as much as you want. Now remember, if your hands are warm, it will melt the butter a little, so be cautious of that. Me, on the other hand, my hands are always freezing, so it doesn't matter. All right, you see how this is all nice and grainy now? Looks like that sandy texture. That's what we're looking for. Then what you want to do is you want to make yourself a well in the middle of it, put a nice big hole, and then we're going to add some buttermilk. Do not forget to preheat your oven to 500 degrees. Mine just went off and I forgot to tell you that. 500 degrees for your oven is crucial. You want a hot, hot oven, so that way these can bake really good. I'm going to grab the buttermilk because I pre-measured that and also stuck it back in the freezer because we want everything cold, you guys. Cold, cold, cold. You want to have 1 3/4 cup of buttermilk, okay? I'm going to start with 1.5 cups first because we can always add the buttermilk if it's not enough, but we can never take any additional buttermilk out once you add it. So remember, we can always add, we can never subtract. So we're going to just start with that 1.5 cups and leave about 1/4 cup in here. Ooh. Oh. And then you want to mix it up. This is a very crucial part where you do not want to overmix your dough. We're not making bread, so you don't need to get those glutens activated. We just need enough to mix everything together, and then we need to turn it out on a floured surface so we can start making some biscuits. All right, so mine is still too crumbly, so I'm going to stop, and I am going to add that additional 1/4 cup that is left. All right, and you want it like that. I know it looks very loosely incorporated, but that is fine. That's what we want. Less mixture and tossing, it's gonna be a really flaky biscuit. Just trust the process. You're going to flour your surface before we turn over the dough that we just made for our flaky biscuits. As you can see here, I made a mess with the flour. So we have a surface that's all covered. Roll this out gently. And you want to put a little bit of flour on your hands. You don't have to wear gloves. I just have nails, and if I do, all that's going to get stuck in there and it's going to be gross. So flour up your hands, and then we're going to make it into a nice ball. Remember, don't overwork it. We just want it to stick together. No kneading. And then we're gonna press it down. I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but you can literally see the chunks of butter in there, and that's what we want. We want to see the chunkiness. Now you can get yourself a rolling pin and roll it out if you want. I just always roll it out with my hands. I want some thick biscuits. These are gonna look like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like homemade, rustic. They're gonna look rustic, and that's gonna be okay. We don't need a picture-worthy looking biscuit. That looks like the correct thickness that I'm gonna want for my biscuit. Get yourself a cutter. If you don't have one, you can always use a cup, floured. Put it in there, flour it kind of all the way around, and get to cutting. Look at that. That's what you're looking for. Doesn't it look pretty? It's gonna be tasty. Take the dough that you got left over. We're gonna reform another little place to cut biscuits, whatever you wanna call it. And you're gonna continue to do this until it's gone. This is what it should look like when we're all done getting our biscuits on our tray. You should get anywhere about 10 to 12 biscuits depending upon your biscuit size and how big or small you make your biscuit mounds. So right now, because my oven is preheated, remember 500 preheated, it should take about 10 to 12 minutes as well. So let's go ahead and get that going, and then we'll start our gravy. To our warmed pan, I did add a little bit of oil so that way we can get that warmed. We're gonna add in some ground sausage to that so we can start our gravy for our biscuits. Oh yeah. Now we'll get that back on the stove to continue cooking. Our breakfast sausage is getting all browned, so to that I did add about a couple tablespoons of butter so that way we can get some fat in the pan because it'll help when we make our gravy. To this though, we're gonna add a couple teaspoons of ground sage. After the sage, I always do a couple teaspoons of chicken bouillon. Not a lot, just a little bit for some flavor. There we go. Garlic powder. We measure that with our heart here in this house. We love garlic. And then some salt, pepper, garlic. You want the pepper for that. That should be good. And then we'll put it back on the stove, mix it all up. Mixy, mixy, mix-a-trixy. And then once this goes just a little bit longer, we'll be ready to add our milk and our flour at the next stage. Look at these beautiful biscuits, everybody. See, you just gotta trust the process. The less working of the dough, we got a lovely looking, fluffy, flaky buttermilk biscuit. And like I said, they do look rustic, but there's nothing wrong with that. These are gonna be incredible to go with our gravy. We just wanna let them set off to the side to cool down for a second. And we're gonna continue on with our gravy. I think we're ready to add the flour. Add some flour to the pan. That way it'll incorporate all the liquid and fat that we have in there. You wanna cook it off for a little bit. You don't wanna just go right in with your milk. So make sure that you do get it back on the stove to cook it off. So I don't know if you can see this. However, this is not enough flour that I added. It still looks a little too loose, so add a little bit more. We're using this as our binder thickening agent. Perfect. This is exactly what I want it to look like. We're gonna get that right back on the stove to continue to cook it out. After cooking off the flour for a couple minutes on the stove, we are ready to move to the next step, and that's where we're gonna add some milk to it. Gotta use the old stuff first. Add some milk. This is going to vary depending upon how much sausage you have. I did 1 pound of sausage, so you're just gonna wanna incorporate, I normally just go about until it covers the sausage up. So that probably was about a cup, I would say, cup and a half maybe. No, about a cup. Mix it all up. It is gonna be very thin, which is completely fine. It will thicken up on the stove. Oops. A little mixy got a little messy. Oh, the smell is incredible. We want to get that back on the stove, but to thin it out again just a little bit because we don't want to use too much milk. I always do add a little bit of chicken stock to it. Oh, it's a fresh one. probably about 3/4 of a cup. It also adds a lot of flavor to that. Let's get that back on the stove to let it keep cooking because we do want it to thicken. Have your pan on high and let it continue to mix. This is a very important step. You have to continue. After a couple minutes of stirring, we want to continue to stir the pot. It should thicken and look just like this. Look at that. Now let's taste it just to make sure we got all of the flavors that we're looking for. Salty, savory, garlicky, which is our favorite. I'm pretty sure we nailed that first try. That's perfect. If it isn't to your liking, go ahead and add some more seasonings to it. If there was something I didn't add that you want, go ahead and add it. It's your recipe too. Play along with it. Make it your own. Whew, it's hot. Let's not forget about those beautiful biscuits that we made. Grab yourself a biscuit. I'm going with this guy because he looks amazing. Get yourself a fork. Go right in the middle of it. Pop it right. Ooh, so flaky. Pop it right open. Let's take a little bite of that too. This is so flaky and buttery right off the bat. You just get a punch of butter in your mouth, and that's not a bad thing. These are incredible. Again, you can always play around with these. If you don't want to do the gravy, you can make yourself the biscuit. You can put yourself a little cheese in here and do like a cheddar biscuit. Glaze it with some butter and garlic, and you got yourself a savory biscuit, and that would be also very delicious. Tell me in the comments if that's something you want me to make next time. I'd be happy to make it up for us because I haven't done it, but it just sounds good. Now, I'm going to pour your gravy over this. Use as much or as little as you want. That looks great for me. Let's give this plate a try. Yes. What are you still doing there? Go make this. You're not going to regret it. You're going to need a walk afterwards. But other than that, this is so good, you guys. The flakiness of that biscuit with the butter, the savoriness of that gravy together. It's like the best deal for a Sunday breakfast. Go make it right now. Your family's going to thank you later. Tell me down below if there's anything you would change. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys, I'm trying to grow my channel, so tell everybody to make these. Watch it. Make it. Let me know below how you liked it. Thank you so much for coming in today, and until next time.